Hello, everybody. I'm Shweta Hegde. I am the team lead for #Semantic Climate. We attended the UN Datathon from the SDG Solution Space here in Geneva. This is the final presentation where we summarize what we achieved over the past 2.5 days. So before getting started, who are we? Well, #Semantic Climate is an open science movement where we develop software to make climate knowledge accessible to all. That's both machines and humans. So during the Datathon, we were a team of 5, 3 of whom were based at the solution space. So that included me, Shweta, Jamie, and Grace. Ayush joined us online from the US, and Gayatri, who's a high schooler, joined us from India. At the solution space, we were mentored by Peter Murray Rust from the University of Cambridge, who's also the co-founder of #Semantic Climate, Simon Worthington from TIB, Germany, and Javier from UNFCCC. We focused on the transition climate change primarily, with a minor emphasis on education. Our project maps onto 3 of these SDG development goals: climate action, reduced inequalities, and quality education. So we believe that the scientific literature is the big data, but it is usually very unstructured and requires semantification. That's what we do at #Semantic Climate. We take thousands of scientific papers or reports and extract useful information automatically and convert it into a structured format that can either be fed into a database to build interactive visualizations such as knowledge graph, or queried and visualized in a different perspective. During the Datathon, we built 3 use cases using our existing software. The first one is PDF Reader for UN diplomats. Second one is Semantic Glossary for UN IPCC readers. And third is Climate Vulnerability Assessment Tracker that can be used by researchers. So, PDF Reader for UN diplomats. The problem here is that the formal reports that the UN puts out are very huge and are filled with jargon and technical terms. So our mentor Javier wondered how we can make this information accessible to someone who joins the organization, or diplomats, or anybody interested in learning what, let's say, UNFCCC is doing, right? So they've got around 2,000 documents that were put out over the past 30 years, and they come in as just PDFs. However, this PDF has got a lot of useful information, such as the decision that was taken, some of the guidelines, and they also reference other documents. But the problem is, all of this is locked up in a PDF report. That's where our tools can help. The tools that we've developed, like Py4Amy HTML, was able to convert the PDF into an HTML. Now, HTML is a lot more structured, and we can extract information from it. As an example, during the Datathon, we were able to pull out the source, that is the decision that was taken, and the target, the other decision that is the given decision references. And this was done automatically. And as a result, we were able to build the UNFCCC decisions knowledge graph. And here we can see that 1CMA3 was probably the most referenced. This indicates that this particular document, 1CMA3, is the source point where you can actually, is the starting point for you to start exploring what UNFCCC is doing. Our second product, the use case that we built was semantic IPCC glossary. Now, IPCC reports are one of the most important climate-related document ever. But again, the problem here is that they're huge. Like, I don't know, like WG3, AR6 WG2, for example, is like 3,000 pages long. Even the glossaries that they put out are very technical. And that's when one of our team members, Gayatri, asked, how can we make this IPCC glossary more accessible to high schoolers and above? So this is how the glossary looks like on the IPCC website. It is brilliantly curated, but we can make it more accessible. For example, how does ablation look like? Or what does ablation mean in Hindi or Tamil? So during the Datathon, we were able to build this prototype interactive ebook where we scraped the glossaries from the IPCC app and turned it into this notebook where you can see that we have, let me replay that video again. We have images that were added by our team members back in India, and they also added the translations for these terms. And we did this for about close to 1,000 terms that we scraped through from the IPCC website. Finally, we'll move on to our third product, Climate Vulnerability Assessment Tracker. So the other problem that we might face is that there are a lot of data sets that the UN has put out. However, the question is, how can we then complement that data with the big data that is available from the scientific literature? So one of our team members, Jamie, wanted to know, how do countries do their climate vulnerability assessment? The problem here is that these assessments are different for a given region, for a given type of disaster, and so on. So you cannot just rely on a search engine to give you all the relevant articles. Large language models are also a problem because you do not get specific evidence-based answer, and you cannot map as to how you got to the end of the answer there's no replicability, in other words. So what we did during the Datathon was to build an interactive dashboard for climate vulnerability assessment for all countries that were reported in the open scientific literature. We first scraped about 550 papers from Europe PubMed Central using our tool called PyGetPapers. And using doc analysis, the extraction tool, we filtered about 130 papers which mentioned countries in their title. We then used Python to represent that information on a world map. So this paper is about a local perspective of socio-environmental vulnerability to environmental pollution and economic crisis in Sri Lanka. And you get that this is about extreme pollution. You also get the PMC ID. So once we are able to get all the papers and the dashboard becomes more interactive, you'll also be able to tell where the climate vulnerability assessments are done more frequently and what are the gaps. So let me go back. That's it from us. We had a wonderful time at the SDG Solutions space. We also got to talk to a lot of other teams. Yeah, thanks to all our team members and our mentors, and of course to the organizers, both at the UN Datathon and SDG Solutions space.